Hi guys, Cyber Trades. Today we are on Tuesday, 14th of April. So currently we are looking at the Euro USD. On the daily time frame, you can see that we opened high on this week. So far, we have filled this volume imbalance right here on the daily time frame and started creating SMT on these long-term highs right there on the daily time frame. So what I'm expecting is the potential high formation for a retracement back into the range on the Euro USD. So if we go to the 1 hour time frame, there is no structure which supports retracement just yet. I will have to wait for the time frame to align, but you can see that right here we have this range, this higher low created this higher high right here, and then price formed the high right here. So what I'm expecting is for the price to retrace at least back into the equilibrium of this range. So I'm looking at the possibility of the price providing a retracement at least to this equilibrium, or even a reversal back to this internal low, which I can mark out as a set side liquidity pool. So I'm expecting a move like this one. So if we go to the 3-minute time frame, you can see that we formed an SMT divergence with this high right here. We respected this week, and on the open of 8:30, and we are forming a potential fair value gap if this candle doesn't overlap with this candle one's week. So I'll be interested in knowing how the price will utilize this bullish fair value gap as an inversion fair value gap. But so far, I'm just waiting for another retracement on this time frame. Euro GBPUSD on the other hand did form it formed the second high right here, which is pretty significant, but it was formed at 8:36. But since Euro USD is the weakest one, I'm not interested in looking for setups, but this high can potentially hold if we do have a range of the acceptable pips. Let's see, 5 pips on the Euro USD is somewhat it's just somewhat too small for me, but you can see how this fair value gap is kind of holding. If I was to place a trade, I'll be looking for something like this. If this kind of flips, So let me set the alert right here. So far, this bullish fair value gap is not holding as a bearish inversion fair value gap, so it's most likely going to fail. Then I probably will return back on the higher time frame. But even if the price reached this point right here, this range right here is 6 pips, meaning that if the price did close below this candle right here, engulfed all of those candles, the setup for shorting back to the equilibrium of the range is still valid. So that is where I expect a change in state of delivery happening. In the candle too. So let me add an alert right there. On the high time frame, the 8:30 candle flipped bullish again, so I don't want to force anything. You can see how on the high time frame the change in state of delivery point is way below the opens, meaning we wouldn't have the confirmation with a better risk to reward ratio. But it will still be varied. Having a short trade right here stops above these highs. The only problem is that we do not have at least one-on-one risk to reward ratio before we reach the equilibrium of this whole range. The 1-on-2 risk to reward ratio will be like right here. In a case like this, I will only let this candle close because the risk to reward ratio is not that promising for a deeper retracement to get at least a full one-on-one without any problem. So right now seems like GBPUSD is the weakest one right now, and we are forming a short-term high on the GBPUSD. So what I'm looking for is if or whether or not we close strongly below this series of up close candles. And if you go back to the higher time frame for a little bit, you can see that we do not have an active higher time frame range, but the nearest discount PDRA is this fair value gap, meaning that we are already halfway there. The other PDRA is this second BC right there. What did I do? Okay, so if you go back to the lower time frame, then you can see how the equilibrium is this, so you can expect price to draw towards there. The only problem is the fact that we are just sweeping lows right here instead of displacing right through here, which is kind of concerning. We opened high right here into this bearish fair value gap. I want to see how it will be used if we respect it immediately and favorably close once again below 1,358.16. I will consider looking for shorts on the GBPUSD. On the 1 minute time frame, maybe the only problem is that 830 high wasn't swept just yet. So let me put this alert right here and see if I can get a move. Can close below this point right here. Let me measure amount of pips, 6 pips. Yeah, I can consider look for a short opportunity on the GBPUSD, targeting these stops on these highs. The only problem is that the Euro USD right here is not reversing or forming an intermediate term high. So this is just a retracement. This could be just a retracement. So I will have to wait and see. If this candle closes inverses this bearish fair value gap which was created by 93 candle 2. I will consider this to be just a consolidation. So far, because it didn't happen, I want to see if this next candle can do close below the 96 candle. If it does so, I will be comfortable. Looking for a retracement trade. So you can see that we are almost reversing, but this candle didn't close below these lows right here. It's just waking through them. This is most likely consolidation, but I can consider looking for a one-on-one risk to reward trade on this setup right here, which looks like this, with stops above there. So my stops the stop loss will be above those highs, and I'll be risking 1%. Yeah, I'm looking for a short. Oh my god. This is a little bit too fast. So I risked a little bit too big. Yeah, like if the stops is above there, that would be okay. So let me look. The trade almost reached where I was anticipating it. So let me set the alert right here. It's like 10. I almost missed. Let me just say should for the sake of just showing the risk to reward. Stop is roughly above there. And the take profit, I would be lying if I said is at the equilibrium. It's a little bit somewhere around here. Yeah, like that. So let me reduce these drawings. The stops is around somewhere like that. No, not at all. So I'm trying to reduce the drawings, but so I'm going to reduce my stops to the bodies of these candles. One 35870. Damn. Sorry. 1 3. So no, right here. So as 9:30 is approaching, I'm going to trade the stops accordingly. The stop should be above this high, the immediate term high, which is 9:11. So I entered inside of this 9:15 candle. Let me annotate it so that it will be visible. So I'm going to trail my stops accordingly. This is not essentially like a one-on-one risk to reward ratio. Because I hesitated in entering the trade. I think I did put the stop loss like this low. The euro is deranging me too much, so I'm going to put like this alert right here. You can see that we didn't get an entry, but if I was going to wait for the euro USD, then I would have to wait for this 9 AM candle to close fully and wait for 9:30, because the setup essentially right here, the first one, this fair value gap got reclaimed. So I'm just waiting to see if the GBPUSD is likely going to reach this equilibrium, or it was just a retracement. But so far every PDRA is resisting the price, is pushing the price lower, which is a good sign to see. So I'm pretty comfortable looking for these lows to be taken at 9:30. And if it doesn't happen, I'm pretty hesitant on adding to positions. I'm not used to doing it because most of the time my win rate does not allow me to have the luxury to just open the trades or when managing like two positions at the same time. So that is why I'm just all in and all out when I'm managing my trades. So this candle really closed where you can see how price is pushing towards this downside with velocity, which I'm liking. So mind you, I really had the plan that I should be all out worst when the price crosses this price level, but I extended my target, which is kind of being greedy. I shouldn't do that. Maybe because 9:30 is going to open, I'm going to the price reached where I should be out fully before 9:30, so I'm going to go break even regardless. Because I am trading against the higher time frame trend, I don't want to fidget with the trade. I'm going to go break even, and you can see that price reached almost 1-on-1 risk to reward ratio. I technically should be out fully on this trade, but I'm break even. I will set the stop loss to break even according to these spreads, and I'm going to cut the trade free. Then I don't want to suffer the full loss. Let's see. Then 0.2. So I just took a partial right there, just in case the 930 doesn't go in my direction. So let's see how the 930 does its thing. I'm going to take a partial right here. Trying to take a partial, but it's not working. I don't know why. So I wonder where euro is. So far you can see how, yeah, the partial is actually taken. It's a minimal partial just to suit myself, because not in my best. I know I can be hard on myself if I get stopped out for loss, but for now I just have to wait and see if it does work out. So because I don't want to fidget and make some stupid mistake, I'm going to set an alert on the target, and I will come back later on if the price does reach to alert me to do so, even if it's just almost immediately. Because I don't want to sabotage the trade. So I already set an alert which will be triggered when the price reaches this low right here. And if I get stopped out, that will be it. I would have reaped what I sowed. So far this low has GBPUSD did expand lower. I wonder if these lows right here on the euro, they haven't been swept in either asset class. So I think I'm going to be stopped out break even. Which I don't. That would be my piece. So according to the spreads, I'm definitely already stopped out to break even on the Pop Farmer account because it's like 4 pips range of spreads. I'm out right here. So my original plan was to let the price reach 1-on-1 risk to reward ratio and get out immediately, but I held longer than I should have, so I got stopped out right here on this GBPUSD trade. Right here. And this was it. So that is it for today. I don't think I did manage well this trade because I overstayed my welcome just once again. So how long did it take? From 9:15 to 9:36. So I think that's it for today. And So this is it. So having been stopped out like this, I wouldn't be trying to look for short setups anymore because price has already reached the equilibrium, and I know very well that I was trading against the high time frame trend, so I wouldn't be trying to look for any more short setups. At minimum, I'll be looking for a long trade towards this psychological level right here, which price might still reach, and since 9:30 opened low, then I expect price to maybe reach back into these relatively equal highs right there and make them a little bit rugged before considering any more short setups. So far, these relatively close can still be revisited, but ideally not now, because right now, as we have retested the discount of the range, we should attack some buy side liquidity. So that is why, because I've been stopped out break even, I'm not in a haste to look for some kind of re-entries. This is something that has been like dragging me for years, because whenever I take re-entries, they are not coming off of some kind of logical reason. They don't have, my re-entries don't have a logical reason behind them most of the time, leading to multiple stops or outs, and the worst of all, getting stopped out with a loss. So far, if I get any kind of trade after this one, because we did have a large range, up range since the start of the week, I expect there might be some kind of catalyst to form a high right here and send by the price back into this hourly fair value gap, which was my draw on liquidity for looking for the short setup, as well as all of these the whole of this range have to be visited later on this week or even today. So that is why I was expecting lower prices on the GBPUSD specifically. I started with Euro USD, but the Euro was not providing the best risk to reward ratio, even though the one which was provided GBPUSD, I sabotaged it. So I'm embarrassed of my performance today, but yeah, I have to own my mistakes. Yeah, I should have done better and at least got one-on-one R out of GBPUSD, because it was the weakest pair, which was the easiest one to short at the moment. So yeah, the fact that I screwed it up trying to hold for 2 hours trading against the trend was not the most clever thing I should have done. But yeah, I still believe price might still retest this bullish fair value gap right here, which hasn't been revisited at any moment in time, but for now I have to wait and see what the price provides. Yeah, so far, if you look at the 3-minute, this is just a range, so I have to wait for either buy side or sell side of the range to be swept for me to anticipate any kind of intraday reversal to base my trade idea around. So far I think that's it for now, or even today. Yeah, I update you guys in the Telegram channel if you are belong to it. I update every trade idea or value I get along the way. I pass it in the channel, so make sure to check it out. It's Ivan Trade channel. It's free and open to the public. So thank you for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next one.